hands down, the most annoying thing in Overwatch, undebatably, is when Mercy gets a 5-man revive. There is nothing more powerful, no ultimate that has more value than a 5-man Mercy res, and it's happened to all of us. It happens at every rank because as you rank up, Mercies get better, they know how to hide more, and if you're a lower rank, well, people tend to focus Mercy less. So there's a problem at basically every elo dealing with Mercy, and well, this may disappear at extremely high elos and ranks, but for the most part, a lot of people struggle dealing with Mercy because her revives are just so powerful. So in today's video, I'm going to be helping you guys counter Mercy, and mainly her ultimate, her revive, because to be honest, you don't really need to counter her healing or her damage boost. It's her ultimate that really gets all the value. A lot of people, I think, actually go about countering Mercy really wrong. The main way I see Mercy countered is simply to kill her first, either by finding her in a fight and killing her, or having a flanker do it, or just focus the rest of the enemy team down and try to stop her before she gets off her revive. Now, the first method can work, the killing Mercy first method can work, however, just going into a fight and expecting you to find the Mercy before she reses or be able to stop it is honestly, it's a terrible idea, and you really shouldn't try it. So let's talk about a few ways you can counter Mercy, maybe some strategies, some heroes, and just various things you can do to prevent that juicy 5-man revive. The first way is the one we mentioned before, but be warned, it's really not as simple as some people make it out to be. This method is the one we just mentioned, and it's the kill Mercy first method. Now, you really want to listen to this, I encourage you to, because it doesn't always work. There are times where it is actually counterintuitive, and there are also ways you should be doing this that are much better than others. First of all, I'd like to say you really only want to use this method if you're on the first point of an assault map or early on in a payload map. If the enemy team spawns very close to the objective you're trying to push to or take, this is counterintuitive, because if you kill Mercy first and then kill the rest of their team, she will respawn before the rest of the team and probably get off the revive. So only do this when the enemy team isn't spawning close to the objective. Now, how you kill her is kind of up for debate. It really depends on the enemy team composition, but there are a few good heroes for doing so. And the first few are obviously your flankers, so Tracer, Genji, maybe even sometimes a Reaper. They're all good heroes for taking out Mercy. However, a good Mercy will fly to her team when she gets found. This can be exploited in your favor. Many people who are flanking and trying to find the enemy Mercy have the mindset that they need to kill Mercy, and this is an okay mindset to have, but remember, if you're on the second point and you kill Mercy too early, that's not a good thing for one, and if you overextend and try too hard to kill Mercy, your flanker can get killed on their own. So what you're going to want to do, rather than attempt to kill Mercy, is more attempt to disrupt her and or scare her. A good Mercy, like I said, will fly to her team when she's found. What you want your flanker to do is not just mindlessly follow the Mercy into the fight, trying to kill her, which I've seen so many flankers try to do, and then just get killed, because that's all that will happen when you're a flanker jumping into the whole enemy team. No, you want your flanker to get Mercy to run from her hiding spot into her team, and that's when you want your team to engage, and that's when you can do everything, make your fight happen, because if Mercy's in the middle of the fight, there is a very good chance she'll die during it, and you should probably be focusing her, and if she dies at any time close to her teammates, there's no way she'll be able to get off a good revive. So that's strategy one. Make sure your flanker gets her to join her team, and that's when you engage and hopefully win the fight. The problem with this is, though, not every Mercy will be findable. Some Mercies know how to vary their hiding spots, and sometimes you'll notice your flanker wasting way too much time searching for the enemy Mercy. And if this happens, you want to employ a different strategy, a much better strategy in my opinion. And this strategy involves ultimate management. I've seen lots of teams just throw ultimates out willy-nilly. They will burn every single ultimate they have just to take, maybe a push on a payload or take a point. Now, this isn't very good. Like, when all it takes to kill the enemy team is maybe a Graviton Surge and a Reaper who's been nano boosted, there's no reason to also throw in your Reinhardt's Hammer Down, your Roadhog Ultimate, and maybe your Zenyatta's Transcendence. You don't need to do all that. You really want to try minimizing ult usage to just just what you need. This is actually just a good tip in general, but it's more specific to Mercy in that when Mercy gets a revive, if you didn't burn many ultimates, you can still win the fight. You're going to be fighting a 6v5 when done properly, because the Mercy is going to be hiding. So you should be able to win that fight with minimal ultimate usage. Now, if the enemy team uses some ults, you're going to want to retaliate, but you got to make sure you have one ultimate left over after the fight to just, push that thing home. If Mercy gets the revive, hopefully she won't get everyone, maybe just a few. You want ultimates left over. Ideally, you don't make a hard push until you get a pick. Maybe Roadhog pulls someone or Ana sleeps someone, making the fight a 6v4 because the Mercy is also still hiding. And a 6v4 is something you should be able to take with minimal ultimate usage. So if Mercy does revive, you'll hopefully be able to kill her really quickly, because whenever Mercy reses, she usually dies because she's just right in the middle of the enemy team, and then the fight will be either a 5v5 and you have your ultimates, or a 6v5 and you still have your ultimates. While we're on the topic of ultimates, I'll probably say that word at least 20 more times in the video, maybe. Let's talk about a few good ultimates that are great for cleaning up after the enemy Mercy revives. And the first one is Graviton Surge. For Mercy to get a good revive, her whole team needs to be grouped up very tightly. And you know what pulls people even closer when they're already close? A Graviton Surge. So when Mercy gets a good revive, if you have a Graviton Surge, you should hopefully be able to clean up very well, unless the enemy team has a Zenyatta, in which case, hopefully you have an Ana with her grenade ready. Another good ultimate for cleaning up people after a revive, and possibly the only good use for this ultimate, is McCree's Deadeye. McCree's Deadeye can lock onto people right as they're respawning, so if you time it right, enemies will have very little time to react, especially these squishy enemies, to actually kill you, stun you, or find a way to negate your ultimate. So using a high noon in vision of an entire enemy team as they're being revived can usually take out a good amount of them. Mei's ultimate and Reinhardt's ultimate are both also very good for this, for the same reasons. They essentially stun the enemy team so they can't move in a pretty big AoE, and when all the enemies were clumped up, like we said, it'll kind of get most of them, so both of those are very good as well. And one that's, I think, somewhat actually underrated for this is Hanzo's Dragon Strike. Hanzo's Dragon Strike is interesting. It's really easy to dodge, but if Hanzo times it right and he fires it the moment the enemy Mercy revives, you can usually catch a few enemies in it, and even if you don't catch them in it, it obstructs a lot of vision. They can't go through it, so your team can hopefully capitalize on that and maybe take the enemy team. Now, before we go, I'd like to talk about some ways you can preemptively try to minimize the amount of ultimate charge the enemy Mercy gets, because if she doesn't have her revive, you don't need to try to counter it. My first tidbit of advice for this is, if you have your ultimate, don't shoot at enemy heroes unless you know you can kill them, because if you're shooting at enemy heroes without gaining ult charge and you're not killing them, the enemy Mercy is going to be getting ult charge, and you're really just feeding the enemy team ult charge at that point. So unless you can actually kill someone and you have your ultimate, don't shoot at them. Now, this obviously has its exceptions and other things. It's just a general rule. If you're pushing, try to put damage on people. I'm just saying, don't sit back and poke people mindlessly that you know you can't kill when you have your ultimate. Another thing you want to do is, at early stages of the game, quite obviously, you want to focus the Mercy. Focusing the Mercy down won't necessarily make that fight easier, because she's very squishy and she dies in a lot of fights, but if you kill her very early on in team fights, she will significantly get less ult charge, and that will help you greatly in the long run, because if you can get your team's ultimates before she gets her revive, you don't even need to worry about it. So focusing her down really early in fights, even if you don't win the fight, as long as you guys gain ult charge and she doesn't, it's going to put you at a big advantage. Along the same line of don't shoot at people if you have your ultimate unless you know you can kill them, you really don't want to shoot at enemy tanks unless you know you can kill them. Pretty much all the time, actually, because if the enemy Mercy doesn't have her revive and she heals a Roadhog, a Diva, a Reinhardt from really low to full, she is getting a lot of charge. That's how Ana gets her charge so fast as well. So actually, this rule can kind of apply to many different enemy supports. Just make sure when you're shooting enemy tanks, you really want to finish them off or just focus them last, because when they go from super low HP to super high HP with their support, the enemy team is getting a lot of value. Hopefully these tips helped you all. If they did, be sure to leave a like down below and follow me on Twitter, because we're doing a giveaway there soon. My Twitter handle is @LoneHawk with a 0, not an O. Just a few things I'd like to announce to you all before I go today, if you're a fan of the channel, is for one, I'm actually going to try to do more live commentaries because that's kind of what I started YouTube on, and I really enjoy them. And I'm also going to try to do more cringy, funny videos like the somber one that everyone hated. I know lots of you hated it, but I truly enjoyed making it, and it was never supposed to be clickbait, really. Honestly, I mean, a bad title made it look clickbaity, but in the end, I thought that was a fun video to make, and pretty much a majority of the comments confirmed what I thought. They liked the video, but the title was originally too clickbaity for them, so, I mean, obviously, I can work on that, but I'm actually going to try to incorporate humor a lot more into the channel, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. And one last thing is I'm also probably discontinuing my Snapchat, the public Snapchat I made. It's just too, Snapchat's stupid. It won't let me use my personal account and my YouTube account on the same phone, so it's just a pain. I'll probably get rid of it. I never really used it that much anyway, and yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, hopefully you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys all later. Lone Hawk out.